Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of your favorite Ravens YouTube channel and podcast. Talking Ravens all day, every day with your host, Justin P. My lovely co host, Miss Shannon Finch. Episode 34. Like I said, for the audio version, links are right there in the description so y'all can check that out. If you can't catch us live, Shannon got some fire topics for us, so I'm going to go ahead and let her get straight into it. She don't got nothing to say first. So, floor is yours,
Okay.
co host.
All right. Well, first, I just want to say I have been sick for the past 2 days, so bear with me today. Um, but the thing that's been on everybody's mind since Tuesday is Lamar Jackson. So my question to you is, what do you think is more likely to happen with Lamar and the Ravens? A grant on a new contract by July, or Lamar being traded to a team and then giving up two first round picks?
Good question. Me personally, I think you get a new contract. It's just getting two first round picks. It's like that's real cheap compensation for an MVP quarterback. So look what Matt Stafford went for. He went
Mm-hmm.
for three first, a starting quarterback, and a second round pick. So it's like Lamar's going to go for the same compensation, probably a little bit more. He's younger, been a league MVP. So yeah. Just getting two first round picks for that kind of a quarterback. I don't think. I hope EDC wouldn't be that stupid, but in my personal opinion, I think they go ahead and ride it out and try to, like they're gonna let them see how much people going to throw at them, and they'll match it. And then I think they'll get a deal done. Because like I said, just losing him will be like devastating because the revenue not gonna be the same. Like people are not gonna be looking forward to going to the games. Of course, the
Mm-hmm.
long time, even a long time fan who've been here like us forever. Even now, we're not going to still. We're going to, oh yeah, we're going to, go support the team. It's not going to be that same electricity feel. Like people who used to come all over and come watch them all play. Like people as fans of the teams. I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, hey, I see a guy with the Eagles jersey. I'm like, what you doing ahead? I just came here to see Lamar. And it was just like that. Every time I went to the bank, it was always fans of other teams, other jerseys. And come there to see eight. So I don't think
Mm-hmm.
Bashad is a smart businessman. I don't think he's gonna let his best asset just walk away for peanuts. I think they get a deal done by July.
Whew. I wish I could be as confident as you are. Only because this is like I said before, this is the ugly side of sports, right? So if you get a
Mm-hmm.
team that's willing to outprice the Ravens just for GP, then what do the Ravens aren't going to go over that because if they already said no to that, like we don't even know what the numbers are, but let's just say they outpriced the Ravens. I don't know
Right.
that the Ravens wouldn't just take the two first round picks. My concern with that is that if this is not done before the draft, I don't see how it benefits us this year.
Mm-hmm.
Because if it's not done before the draft, then that means that the two first round picks that we get will be 2024 and 2025,
Right.
which then doesn't help us this year in this year's draft, and we're losing our franchise quarterback. So I'm kind of scared that I don't know if the Ravens and Lamar's relationship is soured. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know because I feel like you don't negotiate for 2 years and then nothing comes of it, and then you put a franchise tag on somebody, and then they're probably still not happy about that. I don't know if it's going. I don't know what can like Lamar is such a wild card because, like I said, he doesn't say much. We don't have an agent that's leaking anything. We have people that are saying Lamar's team said X, Y, Z, but ultimately it depends on what another team is willing to pay him. I'm surprised that they did the non-exclusive tag. Well, at first I was surprised because I felt like putting the exclusive tag on it would have let Lamar know how committed the team was to Lamar. But then I thought about it. The non-exclusive tag is less than the exclusive tag. Whether fans want to admit it or not, the Ravens are still a business. So they had to figure out a way to be under the cap by, I believe, Wednesday or
Mm-hmm.
after that. And if I sign you to 32 million or 30, whatever the 30 something million is, I still have, even though we were over the limit, I only have to get 9 million under the cap versus trying to get,
30 or
uh,
20.
you know what I mean? So business wise, I understand why. Secondly, I saw people saying like a lot of teams wouldn't want to do the Ravens dirty work. ultimately, I don't know if it's doing the Ravens dirty work, but it can help Lamar understand what his market is. And though it doesn't compare because of age, if the Ravens could allow Ray Lewis to test the market because they couldn't agree on a deal, I don't see why they're wrong for allowing Lamar Jackson to find his work if he feels like he could find something better. The only thing is, I don't know how much control Lamar has because Lamar could. I saw some people saying he could probably agree to less with another team. But if he does, then the Ravens could just match that, and then what? So I don't know what leverage he has. But I'm not mad at him. Like I said, I don't know what he wants, so it's hard for me to be mad at Lamar. With the Ravens, I don't know what they offered, so it's hard for me to be mad at them. But what I can say is that we made the best decision for the organization, and we just have to wait and see. I don't know that a deal is going to get done though. Like I don't know. I'm hopeful, and I hope that if it's done, I hope it's done before the draft. But I just don't know. I'm not as confident as you that that might get done.
Yeah, because if they play that game and wait, and then he do play it out this year, and then go out next year, then what's your backup plan? What's your
Mm-hmm.
backup plan? You're probably not going to pick high enough to get Caleb Williams and all those guys like that, and now Trey May. So what you going to do? Try to pry Trey Lance off the 49ers, or you going to try to pry Zach Wilson off the Jets? Or what's your, what's your end game? If you decide to part ways with him, like everybody, not said everybody, but those who, want him gone, what is your backup plan? If
Mm-hmm.
you don't trade him for this year's pick and don't get a CJ Stroud or Bryce or even Anthony Richardson, so what you going to do? You want to go sign Jameis Winston or somebody, and then people complaining now. You already know, Shannon. We just seen the Cowboy era and Jeff Blake and all that, Chris Redman era. So y'all want to go back to that?
Well, here's
You
my
know, so
thing.
it's
Could we even get more draft picks? Like now that they've applied that tag, is it even possible to get more draft picks, or is it set in stone to get those two first round picks?
with how it is, from what I was told, it's just those two first round picks for the time being. Unless the Ravens go ahead and sign them and trade them, then they can get whatever they want. But as long as he's on that tag, there's only for those two first round picks. Like if they would have put the
Okay.
exclusive tag on, then they could have got whatever the hell they wanted from him. So, and I get it, you had to get under the cap. It makes sense that it makes sense, organizational wise. But like I said, just to get two first round picks for a talent like him, we just seen quarterbacks like Matt Stafford and all them, and Deshaun, who've been out for a whole year
Mm-hmm.
and was facing criminal charges at the time. Go for go for more. I don't see Eric. I'm not even the biggest Eric DeCosta fan, but I don't see him being that crazy.
Yeah, like if that happens, if all we get for Lamar is two first round picks, then the Ravens would
That's
have
an L.
they would have
That's an
yeah,
L.
that's bad on their part
That's an
because
L.
we should definitely get more for him if it comes to that. But I just don't want it to come to that only because for one, we need a quarterback. I mean, the Ravens, we are more or less like a wide receiver and an offensive coordinator away from winning the Super Bowl. You know what I mean? Like you don't want to. I don't think that we need to get rid of Lamar. I don't think we've seen the best of Lamar, so I think it will be a bad idea to get rid of him, not being able to see the best of him yet. Particularly seeing him in a new offense and possibly new weapons around him.
Hmm.
I'm just not confident because this has been going on for so long. So we hear all of the numbers, different numbers. We don't know what's true. Um, but I just want to be done with it. Like, this is probably one of the most stressful times for me as a Ravens fan because even though we've had guys be on a franchise tag before, I never had any thought in my mind that they were actually going to leave or another team was going to come. I never got that vibe from them. Terrell Suggs and Ray. I just never got the vibe that they were going to leave. With Lamar, I don't know because
Hmm.
sometimes with players, particularly when you don't have an agent and you don't have that buffer to hurt, to save your feelings, to poo poo a little bit, your feelings can get hurt when you're in negotiations. Because
Yeah,
at
for
that
sure,
point,
for sure, for sure.
they're telling you why they don't want to pay you XYZ. And trust
Yeah,
me, it's not just about Deshaun Watson. Like that's when they have to start saying, what you haven't done, and granted, everybody can say that Lamar can say, well, what y'all haven't done for me. And that's why I feel like it gotta be compromised. It can't just be, the Ravens locked in and Lamar locked in because all I've heard, and it don't make it true, but all I've heard is that close to the beginning of the season, the Ravens made a late push to better their offer. Lamar wasn't for it. Just this last weekend before they had to plot its head, they said they gave their last best offer. Obviously, Lamar wasn't for it. So it's more or less like, Lamar, what do you want? I'm just curious to know what it is that he wants so that I can know whether or not the Ravens are being tight with money or or were they fair? Because that's going to determine how I judge this whole thing. If they were being tight, it's going to be a problem. But if they offered him something that was fair and he was still saying he wanted 200 plus guaranteed, then I don't really know what to say about that. You know, like I said, I would give Lamar 200 million guaranteed, and you can add the extra after that. But if he wants more than that, then I don't know. I think it was, who did I hear say this on ESPN today? I think it was Keyshawn Johnson, and he said that the Ravens could offer Lamar 230 guaranteed, but make the contract more money, like make it more valued at higher than that. I mean, they could do that, but then ultimately you're kind of resetting the market at that point. And I don't know that the Ravens want to do that. When the Ravens did that with Joe Flacco, they had a Super Bowl to look at every day that they could walk by and justify why they paid him that. I don't know that they want to do that with Lamar. Not to say that he wouldn't be one of the highest paid, but to make him the highest paid right now, I don't know if they want to do that. I don't. That's why I'm not confident that it's going to get done. But we'll see.
The thing with that, and I get that, yeah, because everybody always say that with the Flacco thing, he did win a Super Bowl, which is true. I mean, he played outside his mind that playoff money. Best he's ever looked outside when he had great career. But the thing about that is the team was better constructed with Joe Flacco as it with Lamar. You know what I mean? A lot of veteran players, were here, Hall of Fame guys. The offensive line was pretty good. You had Ray Rice, you had Anquan Bolton, Corey Smith. Like it was just better constructed. Because look who the GM at the time was, Lazanisha. So Joe Flacco came into a pretty good situation, and he
But
played
they
no
but
don't
they
get wrong.
also did they didn't want to pay Joe Flacco. Remember,
I,
like he
and I was great, and I was going to get to that, and then he was going through the same thing. Remember, and just so happened, he played outside his mind and betted on himself. So he couldn't have played no better at a more perfect time, and it worked out for him. He deserved it. I wasn't the biggest Joe guy, but he deserved it.
and I don't
But
think
even
many
then,
people thought that he was worth 100 million at that point. Like even Ravens fans, like I was a fan. I'm one that liked Joe Flacco, but I wasn't like, yeah, he's $100 million quarterback. But once you win a Super Bowl and have the run that he had, you can stand on the table and ask for whatever you want.
for the most part, like because Nick Foles won a Super Bowl too. You think if he could have went to Philly and
Well,
say, "Hey, man,
the difference between Nick
yeah,
Foles is
yeah,
he's a career backup though. Joe Flacco was in his fifth year. Every year that he
sure,
came to the Ravens, that's not the same to me. Nick Foles and Joe Flacco, but yeah,
I
when you're
know
with the
that, you know that."
organization, when you I
I,
don't know, I'm just saying 5 years with the organization, 5 years in the playoffs, three AFC. You had Joe Flacco had every right to go up on that.
yeah,
Nick
yeah,
Foles
yeah,
had,
yeah, 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 yeah.
so that don't compare to me. But it is what it is. We'll see what happens with Lamar and his contract. But that leads me into the next question that I have. The next topic with Lamar's availability being in question for 2023. Do you think that it'll make it tough for free agents to want to come to Baltimore, or could it be more of a like we're going to have to request or could more guys request a trade to leave Baltimore? So will free agents want to come, or will want more guys request to be out of here?
Offensive guys will definitely be wary though, for sure. They will be like the big time receivers. Everybody want to go get, and I want to get. They gonna be like, "Oh, what's going on? Like eight under contract, he's gonna be here." Like,
Hmm.
no disrespect to Huntley, but I'm just saying, like, I'm only gonna come here and play with eight. Now that Greg Roman's gone, that was the
Hmm.
main holdup or reason why people didn't want to play here. So now that he's gone, and that must be Jimmy down there talking crazy like that. I saw him or Earl. It's either him or Earl, but yeah. So that's definitely gonna be the thing. So like I said, sooner the better to get them not get that taken care of. They can go get a behind or Mike Evans, whoever, because now they know what they got at quarterback. But not it's just gonna be like, oh, we're gonna have to get like the second tier guys like DJ Charles, Amazon, Jacoby Myers, Paris Campbell, Marvin Jones. You're gonna have to go barber shopping again. Like
Mm-hmm.
all the top guys, like man, see the players run for Lamar. Like everybody think people don't want to play with him. That's false. Like you see
Mm-hmm.
everybody coming out to his defense. So then a lot of podcasts people always speaking like, man, I would love to play with him. You know what I mean? So that's a false narrative. So definitely that definitely would play a factor. So the defensive players will come here regardless because they like the culture. So, but
Mm-hmm.
the offensive players will definitely be like, what's going on with that first before I go and commit to y'all.
And do you think anybody else is going to request a trade because of what's going on with Lamar?
Probably no. Only other person I can probably see doing that is Rashad Bateman.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. That's it. Because that will affect him the most out of anybody.
Right.
Rashad Bateman. Mark Andrews, he don't give me that type vibe, but who knows? You never know. He might. You see, he bad. He said he would give up some of his money. So I
Mm-hmm.
don't think he just said that just because he was in front of a camera. He really wants to hit. So they the only two, like I said, like because that affects them. Like Lamar not being here not gonna really affect Roquan stuff like that, because he plays defense. It's like
Mm-hmm.
Marlon Humphrey knows guys like that. But the offensive guys, it's a possibility.
Yeah, I pretty much agree with you on both parts. I think it's going to be pretty tough to get wide receiver free agents, to, regardless of who it is, to want to come here not knowing the situation at quarterback. Now, if you throw a bag at them, which I don't see the Ravens doing, most players, like a lot of players, will go anywhere. But
Hmm.
not having Lamar, I think is going to make it tough for wide receivers to say yes, I want to come. The Ravens' best bet to get a wide receiver the caliber that we all want them to do, would be a trade with another team. But we don't even have a lot of draft picks, so I don't know, how that will work out for us. But that's the only thing, or a cap casualty later, post June first cut or something like that. We find a right player, right price, the way we've always been. But as far as free agents saying yes, I want to come, I don't think they're even going to be taking the Ravens' calls, not knowing what Lamar's going to do. Now, as far as the players requesting trades, Bateman was who I was going to say as well, because this will be his third year this season. And I mean, he could have a breakout, standout year, but I don't think that will make the Ravens offer him an extension, because that would only be considered one good year, right? So if he's not happy with how he's used next year, or if he feels like the Ravens aren't acting as if they want to extend him, he might request a trade. I mean, after we saw his rant on Twitter, he's obviously not happy with how things have been, even though changes have been made. So this year is a breakout year for him as well, because show us what you got. From the strength coach is gone, your offensive coordinator is gone. So from what you said, those were your issues. Now let's see. And I feel like if the Ravens don't approach him with the extension this offseason, he might request the trade. He just seems like one of those guys that's just really emotional. Um, Kind of like Hollywood in a sense. Like I said, with Hollywood, I still don't understand what his issue was he was getting the ball. So it's like you can't please everybody. Bateman's already showed us how he feels. So if he doesn't do well this year, or if he does do well this year and he wants an extension and he doesn't get that, he may say, "Well, trade me," because he might feel like the Ravens don't believe in him, and that's unfortunate. Because if he has a good year next year, that would be your first time having a really good, a whole year. And I don't feel like you should hold the Ravens' feet to the fire about not wanting to extend you if that's the case next year. They might want to extend them. We don't know. But I can see him being emotional about it. Like, I don't want to be here anymore. Other than him, I don't really see anybody else, coming out requesting a trade offensively. Um, Defensively, like they're not affected by. I mean, they're affected, but they're not affected ultimately by Lamar not being there, because they're still going to do what they're going to do. It would just
Right.
help having Lamar being there. So yeah, with Lamar being in limbo, I don't know what free agents we're going to get offensively, because who wants to come in not knowing who's going to throw them the ball? Nobody. I don't think anybody wants it to be Huntley. No disrespect to him, but he's not a quarterback that we can use for a whole season. Like he serves his purpose, and that's it. So this is going to be a tough offseason for the Ravens. Real tough.
Yeah, and this is a team that's was on they got Super Bowl aspirations now. He talking about getting rid of the biggest piece to that. So it's like, man,
Mm-hmm.
you gotta prepare yourself. Not saying the team can't still be competitive and make a playoff push and all that, but at the end of the day, that's not good enough from the for a lot of the fan base and a lot and the front office too. They want to win championships. Playoffs
Mm-hmm.
is expected, as you said before. So like I said, we try and get Lombardi number 3, and then before 8, that kind of decreases, man, a lot. To be honest with you, so
Yeah.
unless we do something crazy like trade him and get C.J. Stroud and just go all out and get the best receivers known to man and just maximize him on the rookie deal, then we'll be all right. But that's living in the fantasy world. So that's the
Yeah.
only way we can still be competitive pre post Lamar Jackson. Let's you know everybody get injured in the AFC and we just it's cozy on left to the Super Bowl. So, but yeah, it's definitely a touchy subject. It's definitely splitting the fan base in half. And you got those
Mm-hmm.
who want to think play want the player side and those who want to go with the company side. So it's me and you, we understand both sides of the spectrum, and it's
Mm-hmm.
definitely driving the waves. But like you said, it's a business. Like I said, hopefully Lamar just realize like, hey, look, man, fuck it. Either way, I'm not gonna never need money again ever in life.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So just go ahead. I want to play here. I love the fans. I love the city. Just go ahead and just say fuck it. Go ahead. Just dim your price down a little bit and get here and get on the road, man. 'Cause once you win a Super Bowl, you know what I mean? All that negative stuff everybody said, they gotta eat crow now. They gotta eat crow.
Mm-hmm.
And then you fulfilled your promise. Remember, what's the first thing you said to DR? They're gonna get a Super Bowl out.
Right.
You said it with
And we still
conviction.
want it.
You say he said it with conviction. And you see him and looked in his face like, I dare y'all let me damn near fall to the second round. But
And that's
John,
what actually makes this whole situation so
yeah,
interesting to me because the Ravens also are included in the 30. I guess we can say 31 teams because I think it was the who backed out the Eagles. How we got
nah,
Lamar Jackson
yeah, they trade commit. They just won
was
a Super Bowl.
right.
They
Okay,
had the
so
pick.
right, so they back. Okay, so they traded out the first round though, right?
Yeah,
Right. So 31 teams did, including the Ravens, did pass on Lamar Jackson, but the Ravens drafted up back in the first round to get Lamar Jackson, which means that they believed in Lamar Jackson. Now, I remember when he was coming out the draft, as a reason why he didn't do certain drills at the combine. People were talking about him playing different positions. Some people didn't even see him as a quarterback. From day one, the Ravens said he was a quarterback. I didn't like how they used him and Joe Flacco because I just felt like it was like, oh, we have a new toy, let's just throw him out there. And the play
mm-hmm.
calling was just, I didn't like it. I just didn't like what they were doing with him and Joe Flacco. And when he
Right.
came in, the Ravens got totally behind him. I feel like in negotiations, that got to account for something too. And I'm saying that on Lamar's part. So if you can want all the money you want in the world, but in the end, and I ain't even saying take a hometown discount. I don't know what he wants, and I don't know what they're offering. But I'm just saying be mindful of those who believed in you and supported you and got behind you 100%. Because a lot of these other teams, they weren't interested in doing that. And even if he talks to these teams on Wednesday, who's to say that they're going to tell him what he wants to hear? It's a lot to have to pay a player and give up compensation for that player. And
Absolutely.
I'm
Absolutely.
pretty sure Lamar wants to get this done sooner than later. I'm pretty sure of it. So the next couple of weeks are going to be very interesting, particularly when you have the Rams saying that Matt Stafford may be on a trading block. Aaron Rodgers is out there. I'm just
He
saying you don't
basically he
know.
basically a jet right now. They just
That's what it
fine
sounds
print
like.
just ready to drop.
It's up to him to say yeah. So it's tough for Lamar right now because it's like, do I want to pay Lamar close to 200 million or get Matt Stafford? I don't know what Matt Stafford contract is. I don't know what it is. I'm not
Oh,
talking about
you talking
us.
about other
I'm
team?
talking
Okay, I
about.
got you.
I'm
Yeah, I
saying
figured
other
that.
teams when you're talking
In
about
general, yeah,
negotiate.
yeah, 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 yeah.
No,
That's
no,
you
because you're
scared. You
talking
caught.
about no. I'm saying, and when these teams have to talk to Lamar on Wednesday, right? So
Right.
teams are going to look at everybody that's available. Lamar's not going to
Gotcha.
be the only quarterback available. So I'm just saying,
Sure,
will a
sure,
team want to
sure.
pay Lamar close to $200 million and give up 2 first round picks when they can go get Matt Stafford? I'm just saying, it's Baker Mayfield still out there. I'm not listen.
I feel you. I
You're
feel you.
not getting my point. I'm
You
talking
doing
about
your
when you're
due
looking at.
diligence. I get what you're doing.
I'm talking. This benefits the Ravens. What I'm saying, it benefits the Ravens is my point because another
Yeah,
team may not want to do that. The
I see
contracts
what you're saying.
that Daniel Jones got, Derek Carr got. Do you not think the Ravens would pay that if Lamar would take something? But Lamar deserves more than that, right? So what I'm
For
saying
sure.
is that there are other quarterbacks out here that they could pay and pay close to what Gino got. What 103? How much of that is guaranteed? 60. So
Like
what I'm saying
75,
is,
75 or something like that.
teams might. We're going to see what it is over the next week. Or do teams want to give Lamar close to 200 million and go up 2 first-round picks, or draft one of these journeymen and pay less money because they might not like the quarterbacks coming out. They might not be
Mhm.
100% sure on Lamar Jackson. They might not want to give up their draft capital. Now, people are going to say it's collusion, it's racist, all of these things about Lamar, but it's business. I think we forget that it's a business at the end of the day.
I see the comments.
So,
I'm looking at them. They picking each other apart in this comment section.
oh, I can't even see the comments.
Yeah, we
But
can see
yeah,
it. We just can't see our names unless because they got Facebook users. But we can see the comments, everybody.
but yeah, I'm not saying the Ravens, but guess what? If we lose Lamar, who knows what's going to be at quarterback? I'm just saying the market for Lamar might not be what he might think it's going to be because there are other guys out right now that could be a stopgap and not cost as much financially or draft wise. That's all I was saying.
No, you're right. It's definitely other. People could go other options, like you said, Baker, Stafford, Jimmy G, Jameis. Instead of having to kick out all that bread. Only teams
Yeah.
that can really afford to do that have probably got a good enough roster that can just put somebody in to hold the fort down. Not too many of them teams can't do that. They need a quarterback for a reason. So, but I get what you're saying. But it's definitely gonna be interesting. I just hope they get this over with so we can go in and look for. We supposed to be talking about free agency players. We supposed to be getting them. Normal draft stuff. Here we are talking about the franchise tag and stuff like that. And it's just
Well, the Ravens did give us something else to talk about. We traded Chuck Clark to the Jets for a 2024 7th-round draft pick. What are your thoughts about that trade?
it was dubious. I get it because he had to be a cap casualty. He had to get off the books for 4 million. I understand all that, but you could at least got a pick for this year for him. I mean, he is a starting safety. He is a starting safety. I'm not the biggest Chuck Clark fan, but he had 100 something tackles. Like he's out of 60 something safeties. He's least in the top 30. He's least in the top 30 easily. So
Mm-hmm.
they could at least got a little bit better compensation. That's my issue, the compensation. And moving, I knew that was going to happen. Man, my Ben said I trade them in mocks every time, and it got me up here looking stupid because we got him for next year's seventh. Like what? A player that might not even be on this team next year when that I'm like, I get it,
Yeah.
teams know he had to get moved, but still, you still could at least somebody would have gave you a little bit better with the Jets. You can't, you're not gonna sit here with straight face, Chad. I know you gonna feel me on this. That, oh, that's all you could have got. I'm sorry.
Well, I
They
do.
panic. They panic because next week coming, I get it, but no, a team like the Texans could have gave you a fourth prize.
Well, here's my thing. Chuck Clark wanted out last year, right? So everything
Mm-hmm.
you just said, I agree with because that was my first thought. Like, dang, next year, because I know we only have what 5 draft picks this year. So I was like, well, when I first saw that he got traded, I was like, okay. Then when I saw it was 2024, I was like, well, dang, what about this year's draft? Then I had to think about it. Last year, remember he requested a trade last year.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And the Ravens checked the market, and it really wasn't nothing out there for him last year. So they ended up keeping him on the team. He ended up making the team over Tony Jefferson, and 2022 went how it went. I have nothing but love for him, but at the same time, I guess it had to be done. Now, I wish it would have been for this year, but I'm not mad about it only because I knew it had to be done. Now, the franchise tag comes into play with that because we were over the cap by 9 million, and I believe I saw that trading him saves us about
4 or
what it
5
said,
million.
right. And if we would have released them, it only would have been some thousands of dollars. So at the end of the day, it made business sense. It might not make sense for us as fans because we're thinking about this year, like, oh my goodness, we could have got a draft pick this year, but ultimately it had to be done. Because if we would have waited, there's no guarantee what the compensation would have been. Particularly when a team know you want to cut a guy. When a team know you want to cut somebody, they're not going to offer you the highest compensation for somebody, you know.
Right.
So that's how I look at it. Like it had to happen. It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate only because I hate losing guys like that, right? But on the flip side, he was a I don't want to say this like he was an overachiever, but he overachieved expectations. He was a sixth round draft pick on a second contract with the Ravens. The Ravens chose his side over the beef with Earl Thomas. The Ravens allowed him to be a leader, right? But
Yeah.
sometimes you have to do things to get better and grow. And it's not to say that he's not needed or wanted. If he would have still been here next year, I don't think anybody would have been like, why is he still here? Um, but like I said, business wise, it made sense. There's no reason to lose him for nothing. It's just unfortunate that the draft pick couldn't have been for this year. But ultimately, I'm not that mad about it, especially since last year he was kind of like he wanted to get out, he wanted to get out, he wanted to get out. So it kind of works out for both parties. I mean, I don't feel like the Ravens did him dirty in any way, shape, or form. Again, we gave him an opportunity. He went from a special teams player to a starting safety. A lot of teams you don't even get an opportunity to get to that point of being a starting anything. The Ravens are one team that do allow their special teams players to get to that point. So I wish them well with the Jets. They always get our leftovers. So I hope it works out for them. Though I really do.
Ravens C was Chuck was said Chuck was okay. Seventh. Better to say this mine. That's true, Ravens. See, that's true. But I just think if they could, at least could have got a seventh for this year. That ain't the Jets. Not even the Jets going to draft probably who the fuck knows what that seventh round pick this year. They could have. That's what I'm saying. EDC could have finessed them a little bit more than that. But
What if
you
the
know,
teams don't want to offer it though?
hey, I
You know what I
started to
mean?
say
Like the
they
other
ain't worth
team.
for. I started to say they ain't worth for a seventh round for this year, Shannon. Oh,
I'm not
that's
saying
bad.
I'm not saying he's not. I'm saying that if the team is not willing to offer it, what are you supposed to do? Like everybody thought that they were at the combine talking about trading Lamar or talking about Lamar, and that could have been a topic. But trust me, Chuck Clark came up in conversation too, which is why the trade got done so fast. But I'm just saying, what if the people they were talking to weren't trying to offer anything, no draft picks this year? Like we don't know that. I don't know.
That's
So
true.
you got to take what you can get because if they couldn't hold him no longer than when they did. Like we literally have to
Mm-hmm.
be under the cap by less than a week now.
True.
So, and that's what I mean when I say when teams know it's the same thing with Anquan Bolden. I feel like he was worth more than when we got in compensation for him. But at the time, that's what they were offering. So you got to take what you can get. It's unfortunate for us. Like I said, I wish we did have more draft picks. But maybe your next, who else did you say? Because you were right about Chuck Clark. You said Patrick Queen. Maybe that's somebody who can get us more draft picks. I don't want him to leave, but if
I
that's the
don't either,
case,
but it's just
maybe that's somebody who could get us more higher draft picks for this draft. Maybe.
yeah. He's like I said, if they keep him, which is fine because they do got 2 more years and a 50 year option. It's just like if you hold on to him, how much you willing to pay him? Because like I said, you already got one linebacker making 100 million. So what you
Mm-hmm.
gonna get that? You're playing 40 million, 50 million, 60 million. Like he only gonna take for so much, take for so less. You feel me?
Yeah,
So that's
but
why I
you
said if
know
you
you
could
know
get
what I think could get the more deal done though, if we could get a wide receiver here. And even though I don't think that a free agent will come, I think I read something that the Cardinals might be willing to part ways with Hopkins for a second round pick. I would give up our second round pick for Hopkins this year. And maybe then Lamar might say, okay, I'll take the deal because he might see new offensive coordinator. We added a weapon. Maybe this deal wasn't that bad.
yeah, we don't got no second this year, so we would have to probably give that first up and get D Hop and get a pick back in the chain.
Well, that could work too. Give up a first. That'll be they would take the first. I mean, why then we had their first last year and then they get our first this year. Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, if that could work, if they could give us a pick in exchange for that, then that would work too. But
because you got D Hop. Because right now we know what we gonna get out of him. The other rookies is like you hoping. So you get
right,
DeAndre Hopkins, and if you can get like a second back in return, now you can still double down. You still got your third to go get a corner and stuff like that. So it just makes sense if they want to go that route.
yeah, that would make a lot of sense. I wouldn't be mad if they did that.
I act like picking receivers on the right one is simple. No one guarantee how a play will pan out. That's true. Whoever this is, like I said, we can't see the names, so forgive us. But yeah, that's true. Yeah, man. So definitely great
I
show.
mean, getting a, I always say that getting a wide receiver doesn't mean it's going to pan out, but I
Mm-hmm.
feel like people have said it enough that we need one, so go get one so we can see. So then that's not an excuse anymore.
Yeah, Raven C said, I'm gonna read a couple more comments and we're gonna wrap it up. Raven C said could have moved up about 6 spots to get Justin Jefferson. No, they wanted Patrick Queen. Just know how they're gonna play. Yeah, that's true too. In that 2020 draft, we could have moved up and got him. True, it might have cost a little something, but it would have been worth it for sure. For damn sure, Raven C. What you
Hmm.
think about that, Shannon?
I mean, yes, hindsight, yes, right, but I like Patrick Queen.
Give
Like
me,
I
give
like
me Jay
him.
Jettis.
So
Give me Jay Jettis all day over Queen. I'm sorry.
I mean, there's
Give
nothing
me,
wrong with
give me,
it.
give me,
It's
give me
it's
Mr.
just
Give me Mr. Giddy all day.
we could have moved up and got him, and
Yeah,
you just
I
would have
would
been
take
giving up a whole lot of compensation to get him. But yes,
so be
if
it.
we could,
Sometimes you got to.
if we're complaining about having 5 draft picks this year, what do you have when you give up that much? But
But when you got a player like him in return, it's worth it. That's the only difference. But I feel what you're saying. If you got him in return, it's worth it. But if you ain't got nobody in return, it's like man, we got five. I mean, don't get me wrong, Roquan was good. Don't get me wrong, getting Roquan was great. I'm happy, but you're not gonna. Nobody's gonna win games just strictly off the middle linebacker now. That's all I'm saying. You know?
hmm,
So that's the thing. What Shannon? What they say right here? Shannon, the best Ravens receiver all time. Always have been 30. No young talent to develop. That's true. That's true. Hollywood was the best young one that we would develop. So, or Corey Smith kind of sort of. So that's good. Speaks to that. So, like I said, we always what you gotta say every vet. So don't be surprised if we do it again.
hmm, I mean that's right up our alley.
What do you say? I'm gonna read this one, two more, and then we're gonna be done. Lamar, I know the Ravens going to draft another tight end and running back. He's not trying to get hurt again. That was funny. I don't like I said, we can't see the names, so yeah, I can see him once I go back and watch the show afterwards, and I'll reply back to y'all. But right now, it's just the Ravens have literally drafted multiple receivers every year. Lamar's been here. Those guys, almost out of Hollywood and Bateman, them guys ain't panning out like Crochet and Wallace. And granted, offense opportunity, we speak that all the time, but still, you still got to make a play when you get on the field. Too, so that still we can only make for so many excuses for you. They just who else? Jaleel Scott, Jordan Lashley, who I'm very tight with, and I had him on the show. I actually got his number. When I asked
Hmm.
him the same thing, he said, "Man, he said, he said we got him. He said we had to play better. He said we didn't make the most of our opportunity. This came out of his mouth. So we're gonna do this
Yeah, I
last one,
mean,
and that's what it should have just paid Lamar and get on with it. And you got shit you was winning already. Okay, yeah, sure.
that 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 comment is what really irks me though. And we can finish after this part, but that should have paid Lamar stuff irks me because my understanding they've been negotiating for 2 years, which would
Yeah,
have
they've been
been
making an
after.
effort. They've been making an
Which,
effort for sure.
so that's my point. So when people say stuff like they should have been paid Lamar, they've been trying to. They just can't
Okay.
agree. So if they can't agree, why is that the Ravens' fault?
Yeah, they can't. They
And
can't.
I'm
They
not
can't.
saying that it's Lamar's fault either. I'm just saying people look at it and be like everybody been saying that's the Ravens' issue. That's the Ravens' issue. How is it a Ravens issue? The Ravens didn't just forget how to do business. Okay, the
Right.
Ravens been have signed players to top contracts at their position for years. That's not a problem. Making you the one, two, three. That's not a problem. They just can't agree on an amount. We don't know what the amount is. But to sit up here and act like the Ravens should have been paid them, they've been trying to. They've been
Mm-hmm.
negotiating for 2 years now. Like what? And that's why he got the franchise tag. Well, since you think that what we've been offering you is not good, then go seek your value. And if we want to match it, we will. And if we won't, then we get two first round draft picks. I hate that we're here, but I don't think that it's a matter of the Ravens not wanting to sign him. They just can't agree. At what
Lamar
point does
research.
somebody look at Lamar and say, okay, well, what you want? What you asking for?
Yeah, this is the last comment. Then we get out. This is Maurice. Maurice just tagged this. I know it's him. He said it's the Ravens' fault because they ain't pay your LJ and get a receiver. Okay.
Okay. And then, but then it goes goes back to the conversation of so a wide receiver going to fix everything, right? It is what it is. We'll see. We going to see how all this going to pan out because we're going to see. I just want. I want. I'm taking notes on everybody that got something to say. We going to
This
see.
Shannon Baldwell right here, I already he just tagged us. I know he said we making this y'all most lit episode. Y'all definitely lit. Y'all going there. That's why I told. That's why we rolling a little bit because the interaction was on point. Was on point this episode, like So yeah, man. But we're gonna wrap it up. Like I said, just definitely y'all tune in Tuesday. If anybody was in the chat, Raven C, Shannon, Maurice, I'm assuming Jimmy and Earl was in there too. So definitely, man, it was a great episode. It was live. I'm gonna go back and look at the comments in the Facebook page, and I'll be able to see our names and comment back. But anything you want to say, Shannon, before we roll up out of here?
No, they made me sick this week, literally.
Yeah, Shannon, we definitely need you feeling better. Man. So everybody have an amazing Thursday. It's Friday Eve, so y'all be safe this weekend. We're gonna see y'all Tuesday with some more mock drafts. We're gonna go into some more, prospects or positions that we feel like the Ravens should look at. We'll talk about some other stuff too. Oh, then we'll get into the new coaching hires too. I didn't talk about that, so I'll talk about that Tuesday as well. So everyone, make sure y'all trade. You know what trade means. Talking Ravens all day, every day. With your host Justin P. My co-host, the lovely Shannon Fitch. Follow us on Twitter, IG, Facebook. You know, all that stuff like that. So, love y'all guys. We'll see y'all Tuesday. Same back channel, same back time. We out.
See ya.